Speaking of five-star entertainment, we got it this past weekend with the Houston Dash, a 7-goal thriller at Wake Med Park. They come from behind in this one. They win 4-3 at the North Carolina Courage. 3 goals in the first 6 minutes of the second half. Now, I'm here to tell you, these are goals of quality that would stand up in any league in the world. So take your pick in which one is your favorite. Bottom line is it's a full 3 points. The Dash go to 4-3-2 now after that win at North Carolina Courage and are now third in the NWSL table. So no better time to bring on Jessica O'Neill, the president of the Houston Dash. All right, this is a pretty happy Tuesday, I would think, after watching that five-star entertainment.
Thanks, Glenn. It is a great Tuesday, and appreciate you having us on here. It's always fun to talk about a Dash win.
All right, pick out your favorite goal in that game, because I have mine. I think it's pretty hard to pick one out, but it's subjective. Which was your favorite goal?
I do think it's hard to pick one out. It feels like a trick question because I think every single player, obviously Elizabeth Eddy had her first goal in a couple years, and then a brace, obviously, with the second. So I was extremely happy for her, and they all play such an important role in, every single play. But obviously, when you can score for the first time in a couple years, it makes it even more exciting than to get another one. So if I had to pick, I'd say her first one was probably when I cheered the loudest. Then they just kept rolling.
Elizabeth Eddy had a pair, and Michelle Prince had that beautiful one where with the step overs and then bending it in, cutting in on her right. She looked the favorite to score that. Maria Sanchez, after a turnover from Carson Pickett of North Carolina Courage, after a pass from Shea Groom. So they're quality goals in any league. I said this to Angel, who heads up your PR, before we got on this call. I said this is the best 8 games I've seen the Houston Dash play aesthetically, from the standpoint of just sort of being a little bit more free.
Yes, they are playing phenomenal soccer. They're having fun, and ultimately you see that it works. It works in any business, but from a team sport mentality, when you're clicking, they've had a lot of change. We've had some injuries. We've had some exits for international duty. Rachel Daly's been gone for 2 games and will be gone for a little while, obviously, as she's at the Euros. So there'll be some adjustment. Next game we play on July 1st, we'll have 5 less players with us as they departed for international duty as well. So you'll see different iterations of what this Houston Dash looks like each week. But agree, Glenn, that the last 8 games have been each one very different. It's my favorite part about this league is that you never know when they blow that whistle to kick it off. You never know what's going to happen, but it's going to be entertaining and competitive.
Clearly, in my very humble opinion, this is the best 8 games I've seen in the Dash in their entire history, and making the playoffs. I mean, that has to be a must this year.
It is a must. It is top of the goal list, first time in club history to make the playoffs is where we're marching towards this year. And anything less than that, I think, would be a disappointment. And again, because this league is so competitive, where we are right now won't count for much if we don't make it there in the end. So we're excited, but we also realize it's a long season, and we're just getting started.
President of the Houston Dash, she's Jessica O'Neill. Dash at 4-3-2 now in third place. That game started off with a bang. Denise O'Sullivan, the former Dash, hit a bomb from long range, but in the end, it's a goal fest. It's entertainment. That's the type of game you want that brings in fans. Now that you've been on the job a while, tell us a little bit about what you've learned about the women on the team. And I heard Sarah Loudon after the game use the word resiliency.
They are resilient. The word I use that word. I use the word gritty a lot as well. I think there is a toughness there in how they approach every single day, a real focus and drive. They play together. They play with each other. They play for each other. And that's what you want to see. They also have an incredible lens that realizes their obligation and their platform allows them to be part of the community. They love Houston. That's been really great to talk about, how we can get them even more ingrained in the community out now. So yeah, it's been awesome, Glenn. It's been really, really exciting 3.5 months in, I think, to date.
Yeah, short time for you. What more are you seeing, or what more are you hoping to accomplish with community outreach and getting the players out there? Because you and I talked the first interview. It's nothing better than the personal touch. You can do all the social media you want, but nothing blows away personal touch.
Yes, it's a great question because it's top of mind. We did 2 events in the last 2 months that were really unique for us. We did a partnership opportunity with Vinny's Pizza, where the girls went in and they made their own dash pizza, which the content was phenomenal. The behind the scenes access obviously was pretty cool. That's a local spot here in Edo. And then that we had a party to celebrate. The girls stayed out there for hours one Sunday night. And then just last week we did, 2 weeks ago, right before our Pride game, we did a bingo night at Pearl Bar, not too far from the stadium, and had an awesome turnout. We had Jay and Ella and Callie were picking bingo numbers. We had a couple of them behind the bar. And they were having an absolute blast. I walked in about an hour after it started and I said, okay, this appears to be the type of thing we need to do more of. So we have some folks working behind the scenes on figuring out what that looks like in a way that is organic and authentic to Houston. But so far, so good with getting the team out. And we'd like to do more of it. It's tough during the season, obviously, but we're looking to slot it in as much as we can.
You mentioned the Pearl Bar, and this is something you would not probably know, only being here 3.5 years. But the Pearl Bar used to be a legendary blues club called Pat and Pete's Bonton Room, and some of the greatest blues legends ever came through there. That's on Washington Avenue. That used to be Rudy Tomjanovich's hideout too, the old Rockets coach. All right, let's get back to community outreach. Is there ever a scenario you could take the team to the community in a bigger way? Like, could we load the team on a bus and take them to Meyer Park and have them do a public training session out there once a month? Is that something that could be done, or is that prohibited by NWSL rules?
No, it's not. I think with a lot of things, what we try to do is make sure that the fan experience and the player experience are equally important. So I think there's ways we could have trainings that were either close to HSP, where they have facilities, locker rooms, et cetera, where pre and prior to training, they can have access to those. That part's important. So whether it's out at our facility, Houston Sports Park, where we have that, or elsewhere, there's a lot of interesting options that we're thinking about doing. And I think you'll see more of that from us in the next few months. So the short answer to your question, Glenn, is yes, we absolutely could do that.
That's kind of like an old school mentality, but it's kind of like what they did in the days of Harlem and jazz. They put the band on the back of a truck and they go around and play during the day, saying their shows at night. But I'm saying, because Houston's so expansive, you can take it into different parts of the town. That would be pretty interesting. To take it into the Woodlands, Meyer Park, Dias Park, Bear Creek Park, go south to Pasadena, go to the east side and take it into some of the historic parks over there. It'd be cool. All right.
Absolutely.
Let's get back to what's a big issue, though. And I definitely need clarity on this. And I don't know if I missed it in press conferences. Let's get an update on what's going on. So Sarah Loudon is the acting coach. Juan Carlos Amoros has been hired to come in as the interim coach. Can you give us any update on James Clarkson and what's going on there? Because this is pretty nebulous. And honestly, I don't think the communication from the league has been exceptional on this. It's just kind of out there. Nobody seems to address it. So what can you tell? Because the fans have asked me to ask the question.
Yeah, Glenn, and I appreciate you asking and them asking. And unfortunately, I don't have anything to share right now, which I know is frustrating for folks that are looking for that information. The league, I know as soon as we have something, either they or we will share it. So it is an ongoing investigation, and I don't have a timeline on when that would wrap. So I believe, to respect the integrity of the investigation, we're not able to give updates while it's ongoing. So I don't have anything to add there as it relates to James. As it relates to Sarah and Juan, we're very excited about both of them in the direction of the team.
Okay, so one of the prevailing questions, we're talking to Jessica O'Neill, the president of the Houston Dash. So Sarah Loudon goes on this unbelievable streak. They're winning games like crazy. They're playing some of the most entertaining soccer. They are playing the most entertaining soccer we have ever seen from a Houston Dash team. And fans are going, well, she should be named the head coach. And she doesn't want to be the head coach. It wasn't offered. What is it? Because all of this leads to us all speculating.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. She is a true professional. She is personal, humble, thoughtful, all of the things that you want. So the one thing that I think was internally known and established, but not externally known and established as much potentially as it could be, was that in the initial conversations with Sarah, where we asked her to take on this position, it was with the understanding that we would name an interim head coach. And she knew that. She knew we were beginning a search and we needed somebody to carry the team through in the short term. We didn't know how long it would be. She handled that with grace as the team that we had an idea of how long it might take, but we weren't completely sure. So she knew that from the very beginning. The biggest piece was that we were specifically looking for someone who had been a head coach in the women's game at the pro level previously. So she knew that, coming in just 2 months, 3 months into her role in Houston, that it was she was in a new space already in the pro game. So what was important in the hire with Juan Carlos was that Sarah still felt like she had a place here because she's obviously been carrying us through and doing a phenomenal job alongside the entire staff. So I believe we'll see her and Juan work together very closely and very well, where he brings the experience, the international experience. He's been abroad for 10, 11 years, obviously with Tottenham and then Real Betis, but even prior to that, many, many years of navigating this game. And that experience you can't substitute. So I think that's the biggest piece, that complementary pieces in our organization, leadership roles, where you have the experience and then you have sort of the pulse on what's working right now and what's not working right now. I think when we pair those things together, really excited to see what happens. So she's been very, very much in the loop the entire process.
Yeah, no, I get her behavior's been professional and she's done a great interview on the show, but I'm going to take you back to why would you condition that though from the start? Because we've seen many coaches given an opportunity that have never been a head coach that have gone on to have successful careers. I can't think she doesn't want to be a head coach one day. I think that's what makes it a little nebulous for people. Why would you want to condition that? Because now you have the risk of bringing in another coach and an entire team has to react to another coach, no matter how experienced he is. And we've seen a lot of experienced managers fail, including about 5 of them at Manchester United in recent times. So I'm just wondering why you would condition it and not give her the chance to maybe earn the job.
Yes, it's a good question. It was the condition was based as well feedback and conversations I had with the leadership on our team. So when I spoke with the players of sort of directionally, we're about to start the season. We have an open position at this moment that we don't know how long it could be open for. What do you all think, being there night and day and living it and having seen lots of different coaching options, what do you think is the most important piece at that? So that was a direct conversation from them. And that was very helpful to have that feedback of, really think the experience would be helpful. So part of my role is to take feedback that comes from the players and staff internally and make the best decision that we can. So that was the result of prioritizing the experience to complement what really had not been on our staff, other than obviously about 8 games collectively that they've now coached together. But previously we didn't have, when you looked at the staff as a whole, we didn't have a lot of experience under our belt.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, though, that conversation's different if you're having it before her first game than after 8 games. I mean, things change. And wow, maybe we learned something about Sarah as a head coach after 8 games that we didn't know in the beginning. Oh, maybe she seemed inexperienced, but wow, she's handled this well. I mean, things might be pointing in the right direction. Did this tribunal or your what do you call it, your leadership group?
Correct.
Were they part of the decision in bringing Juan Carlos Amoros?
They were not. We had Sarah speak with him, and that was a really important piece. And she sort of gave an idea with him of how things are going in the team right now, some dynamics and elements. But there was no real fair way to do it, Glenn, to have some players sort of having a say on the coach and some not. There was not. It was something I thought about and considered, but there wasn't a way to do it, and they understood that. It's been very, very open lines of communication internally. I think them understanding and trusting the process and knowing that we're working behind the scenes. And to your earlier point, I don't want to skip this over because you mentioned the risk that you take when you bring in a new coach, an external hire, especially in the middle of the season when things are moving. And we're very, very cognizant of that. Juan is speaking with players, with the staff on a consistent basis. He's watching trainings while he waits in Spain for his visa to come through, obviously watching game film, preparing. So he's done this before. He's come into a team in the middle of the season previously. So he's sensitive to that and understands the dynamics. And ultimately, any hire is obviously a risk. You think it's going to work out. You think you got a great one when you went through the process, and we fully expect that we did. And we look forward to hopefully everybody having a chance to see that once he arrives.
Jessica O'Neill, president of the Houston Dash. They're coming off a 7-goal thriller at Wake Med Park, one of my favorite facilities in Cary, North Carolina. Look, the easier decision would have just said, hey, make Sarah the head coach. So I applaud you for going with what your gut is telling you. Has most of this coaching decision come down to you and your choice? I know you said that you hired a search firm as well. Is most of this come down to your gut instinct?
It's a good question. No, and I don't think it would be fair if it was my gut instinct alone. So it was conversations. The search firm that we partnered with has vast experience in this soccer world. They previously helped hire a NWSL head coach last season. So this is something they were very familiar with, and that was to help complement my inexperience on the technical side. So that was something I knew from the beginning. We need some help. We need an unbiased resource looking for the best of the best for us. So worked very closely with them, worked very closely with Ted Siegel and our executive leadership as well, to ensure that we had a well-rounded, holistic view of the candidates. And again, the last piece, but arguably the most important, was Sarah's opinions in the process and making sure that it felt like the right fit, because she's with the team every single day while I'm not. So I appreciate you allowing me to clarify that this is certainly not.
No, listen, Jessica, this is the best interview I've heard about all of this stuff, not because I'm involved, because the right questions are being asked. And I think people were confused, myself as well. Can you mention the name of the search firm?
Yes, it's Nolan Partners.
Okay, Nolan Partners. Okay, do they have obviously have a deep soccer background?
They do.
Okay.
They have a presence in Europe and a domestic presence as well, and have been involved in business and technical hires. So we felt like that was the right path.
All right, not to continue to dwell on this, but it is a big issue, and it combined with the way the team's playing, it just, I mean, look, this is, without mincing words here, things happen with pro teams that don't always work out exactly how people want. And you know this better than anybody. You got to go through the peaks and valleys. And while you're having all this success, you have this big issue around coaching. And this is media attention. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad media attention. It's good media attention. Is it fair to say James Clarkson never coaches a game for this team again?
I'm not comfortable answering that right now,
Okay.
Glenn, because the investigation's ongoing, but I do appreciate you asking.
Totally respect that. Okay, so let's move on to another big piece, Ted Siegel, and you guys are going to accomplish here in the future. And again, this to me is a big boon for the club and the team. This reeks of seriousness, of really wanting to take this to the next level, and that's the hiring of a standalone general manager.
Yes, we are excited. One of the things that we said from the very beginning in conversations Ted and I had about the opportunity for the Houston Dash is to ensure that we are attracting and retaining the best players in the world, the best staff in the world, the best support system in the world, so that this ecosystem wins championships. It's obviously all of those pieces together to do that. And when we look at the way that our organization is set up to try to be the best club in the league without a dedicated general manager would be putting us at a disadvantage. So we're excited about that hire, also working with Nolan Partners on that hire, and expect an announcement probably in about 4 to 6 weeks or so. And
that probably takes pressure off you and allows you to focus on some of the other bigger picture things. It is. It's one of those things. I've always believed that it's many really talented people who are structurally, set up for success and driven and focused on key initiatives, the better. So this is adding to our support of the Dash and, dedicated resources thinking about, recruiting, facilities, youth development, obviously the player ecosystem and experience. So it will be a game changer for us. Again, you look around sports leagues in the world, and this is a model that you see quite often. So I love this move back to the competitive side because, okay, I'm looking through a little bit of an older lens here, which I'm going to admit. But I will say that sometimes I think people feel like sports is over commercialized now. Is that something we have to be careful of and make sure we have the quotient correct?
It's a great question. We have to do both, right? I mean, we need to drive revenue. We want to give people a reason to come to games. We talked about that, I think, in our last conversation, my first week. That's still top of mind. We want to do that in an authentic way. We are actively looking for corporate partners that would like to support the mission and cause of the Dash and be a part of building that brand together and amplifying their brand through that platform. So those pieces, right? There's media opportunities, et cetera. There's a lot of different, each player has sort of their own marketing platform. But at the end of the day, right, we want to win on and off the field. So yes, if we got all of those pieces right commercially, I do believe the winning will come, and vice versa. I think obviously winning is going to help with a lot of those pieces, but we can't count on it and we won't count on it. Obviously, it's working right now and we expect it to, and we're working on making sure that's sustainable, but it's not something that we can, assume that we will always be that way.
Yeah. And I'm not obviously, none of this works without the commercial side and amplification and stakeholders and all the corporate lingo. We all know that. I'm just saying that I like to move back here that, look, we can put those 4 goals on a loop from this past weekend and just say, hey, now that's good advertising. Okay. This is why we want to come to a game. We want to see Maria Sanchez. We want to see Rachel Daly. We want to see a rising star in Elizabeth Eddy. So that's why I've loved these last 8 games, because there's just something different going on there. That with the GM coming in and all the hard work being done. And on the Dynamo side too, I think people see a move back to more competitiveness and winning and the competition. And that's a beautiful thing. Jessica, thank you for coming on. Tremendous open interview. I applaud you for that. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Thanks, Glenn, for having me.
All right. She's Jessica O'Neill, the president of the Houston Dash. Great stuff there from her. We'll take a break here. Again, we're going to remind you that Manchester City and Club America, July 20th. It's the 2022 Copa del Lone Star, soccer's biggest stars here. I can't wait to see Erling Haaland basically integrated into this incredible Manchester City team with Pep Guardiola. By the way, there might be a few guys on their way out, Gabriel Jesus, but Kevin De Bruyne and company are going to be there. Tickets available now, Ticketmaster at copadellonestar.com. Get the Soccer Matters t-shirt. Please do this, because all the proceeds go to a 501c charity, Snowdrop Foundation, and you get that t-shirt. You're helping with pediatric cancer. You get the t-shirt at lamontbrands.com.